That's what's up. Well, ladies and
And
gentlemen, if you don't know, we are on the phone with RuDi Devino right now. This man has done a
hey,
lot of things, a lot of things in hip hop. Before we even go any further here, let's go into the beginning. So can you tell us
oh,
a little bit about you?
okay. Well, all right. Me myself, I've lived all over the place. I'm a military brat, so for me, home is Portland because everywhere I went, I always kind of moved back there. That and a lot of my father's side of the family is all from there. And at one point, my mom's parents, my grandparents were living there too. But yeah, I've lived all over the place: Texas, Maryland, Alaska. I was born in Germany, and when I got out of high school, I was like, damn, I've been in Portland most of my life, and it's super white, and I like to go where I'm not the black kid or one of the few. So I was looking at HBCUs as far as for college, and the one who got to me first was North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride all day.
Yes.
And so at that time when I was in high school, I would mess around with rapping a little bit. Like the spark kind of hit me. My cousin Isaiah, he had a group with two of his friends, and it was called Game Tight, and that was kind of like an initial spark. That and also Tupac, and so I would just like mess around with friends and just freestyle. And it wasn't until about maybe my junior year in high school when I really started like writing. So when I was going to college, I thought, you know what, I had the determination like, yo, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to meet other people that rap, and I'm going to get better. And that was kind of how it all happened. Freestyle sessions got started the first little intro week. I randomly met up with this guy named Radar Ellis.
Shout out to Radar Ellis, by the way.
And yeah, from a lot of those subsequent, ciphers and battles, the Short Bus was born.
Exactly. Shout out to Short Bus.
Which was like a collective of us, which for all listeners, Jay himself, the interviewer, was also a member of this Short Bus collective.
Yes.
Short Bus alumni, yeah. So that was how it initially started, and we all were a group. Ended up being originally like 4, and then it spread to like 5 and 6. And we all moved collectively, basically moved down to Atlanta to get this thing, to get it started. And, we got to put out our album in July of 2008. Through
Does anybody have that? Like, it's like a dinosaur now.
I still have a couple of the physical CDs.
I need that.
And funny thing is, in like one more year, that'll hit the 10-year mark, and we would actually get the licensing rights back from that. But yeah, and that I thought that was, I actually at one point really thought that SBA was going to be like the end all be all with my music career. But Radar, he had an opportunity out in New York, and we looked to him as a leader for the most part, because he had been doing music the longest. He was the one who actually had the deal, or got us the project deal with Brick Records. But with Radar, he was kind of a more of a lead by, this is what, like, I'm going to do what I'm doing and you can just look at what I'm doing. But he wasn't a leader in the sense where he would rally everybody around. And initially there were a lot of us probably felt a little salty about it. But as time goes on, I realized that was, you can't necessarily expect someone to be a leader if either they are not one or if they have no desire to do so. But then there are a lot of people who end up becoming leaders purely out of necessity, even though they don't want to, and just happen to have those type of qualities. But long story short, Short Bus alumni did not last. You know how groups are. Some people don't necessarily, like each other, bump heads more than others. Good thing is I'm still cool with everybody who is in Short Bus. And so yes, we're in Atlanta, and it got to a point where I lost my job, and I was trying to find a job in Atlanta, and the job market at that time wasn't the greatest. And then it came to a point where it's like, well, damn, what am I gonna do? I have had family out in Texas. They're like, hey, why don't you just come down here, figure shit out, and then once you find yourself a job or whatever, you can move to the next closest town, which was Austin, Texas. And that's exactly what I did. I had been just holed up for a year, kind of working on, making beats, and the little bit I got from my tax return, I bought some studio equipment, and I would just record some of my own stuff there with software. And then I moved to Austin in July 15th, 2010, and about maybe 3 months after I'd been there, I went out to a show for the first time since I had been living there, like a local show with all the different local bands, and went with a coworker and his friend. And later on that night, there was this one band, which I don't know if it was Sip Sip at the time or if it was, Grundle in the Bronx, whatever. But I was there, and I'm watching this, and then I see these guys start rapping and freestyling, and then I see one guy going against another guy, and one guy clearly sucked. And then this was my first time being around anybody else that was rapping other than myself. So I just hopped in there, and then me and this other guy, we just kept going back and forth. He would rap, and then I would come in and start freestyling. And then from there, he was like, "Oh, yo, what's up, man? My name's Kirk. I fuck with your stuff, man. You should holler at us, and me and my boys, we got a little studio, whatever. You should come through, for real." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And that person I met, his name was Kirk, or Captain Kirk, as he's more affectionately known. And next week, and this shows you how crazy, and where I feel like it was probably fate. I remember it was a Wednesday. I had already gotten through running. I was my day off. I had done all my errands and whatnot. I'm like, okay, let me hit up this dude. I hit him up. He's like, "Oh man, you hit me at the perfect time. I'm just chilling in my house. I'm gonna be meeting up with the whole crew later." And I was like, "Bet, shoot me the address." He shoots me the address. I plug it into my phone. Mind you, I'm still driving. And the moment that it figures out where it is, it was literally the exit that I had to take at that moment. So as soon as I plugged it in, I almost missed it, turn, and his house was just around the corner off of the exit. And there I was, and meet everybody else later on that night at the studio. I'm kind of quiet, trying to, gauge everybody, size everybody up. Everybody goes in and they rap and do their shit. I don't know, I was probably dressed a little snazzy, not super dressed up, but they're probably like, "Oh, who the fuck is this guy?" And then I come in, I drop my verse, and they was like, "Oh, where the fuck did you find this guy from?" And that night, the SubKulture Patriots were born. And we had
history.
Yeah, and the rest is history. 6-7 years later, South bys and a couple of tours, and I guess that's kind of how that ended up happening. Should I keep going?
No, you're good. We actually about to approach that question about the SubKulture Patriot. Before retrograde, we're gonna go to that group. Who exactly are the members of SubKulture Patriot?
Okay. All right. So Captain Kirk CATN, Kirk. That would be Captain Kirk, the de facto leader. Then, of course, me, RuDi Devino. Then we've got our boy HBZ, which stands for Halston Ben Zooted. Then we've got The Brain. And, those were, we were the original four. And then about a year or two later, our boy DJ Aspect came on as our official DJ. We would see him around, and, it was always, mutual respect. And then he finally, locked it in. And then about a year or so after that, then our boy DOS, which was short for Disastro, he's been, pretty heavily cemented in the Austin hip hop scene, and he also used to be in the scene out in Portland, way back in the day. And so now it's a group of 5 MCs and 1 DJ.
Nice. That J5?
Basically, something like that.
So, yeah, for the SubKulture Patriot, you guys seem to have quite a bit of antics. So one day you had a luchador mask, things like that. What was the whole motive behind, doing crazy things like that?
Well, I'd say it's because we are kind of crazy. I'd actually come up with the idea for initially that video, and it expanded from that. At first, I was like, "Yo, here's what we should do. What if we all got some luchador masks, and we were just hanging around and dressed up in suits like we were Reservoir Dogs." And dog, I'm telling you, at first they thought the shit was whack. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, just us luchador masks just walking around and just doing shit. And from there, it ended up and expounded into somewhat of a story where here we are trying to save hip hop in a sense. It was the girl in the video.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we're all kind of a bunch of different personalities, so we all love to party. So I think it's just really a reflection of all of our different personalities thrown in together.
Cool, man. Cool. So we're gonna sidetrack to off of the SubKulture Patriot to your other group, Retrograde, which is funny because April 1st marks the 1-year anniversary for the group as well as your album release. What made you decide to go with Retrograde as a name? Because you are actually approaching Retrograde. You're astronomically, in the in that. Go ahead.
Man, funny thing is it kind of happened out of laziness and not really having anything else to think of. So just for a context story, FKP, we had already done 2 albums. We kind of been chilling. It was a little bit of a lull. And me personally, I feel like I'm very embedded when it comes to hip hop culture. So I like to go to shows and check out new music because I'm a fan first. So I don't think I'll ever be at that point where I'm so much of an artist I can't enjoy what someone else does. So I saw that there was this one this beat thing, and I saw Tommy or Retrospect, and I was like, oh yeah, man, I fuck with your beats or whatever. And he was like, hey, I was thinking to see if I could give some of my beats to SKP, and I'm like, look, bro, they're just to explain the stuff that I like, everybody else doesn't quite go with all the time. So you should just give all of your beats to me because that's what I want. And trust me, they will get used. Fast forward, in the future when he finally does come into the studio and tries to play the beats for everybody, exactly what I said happened. They were like, oh yeah, it's cool, whatever. But now, as far as the name is concerned, he goes by Retrospect with a 0 for an O and a 5 for an S, and so we're just all right. Well, we did one track, and it was Body Heat. Body Heat was the
video. Yeah, it's like that video.
Well, not Yeah, the video, absolutely. That was the first song that we ever did, and he was like, "Hey, well, I gave you that track. I've got this set in the back of Barbarella's." He's like, "You think you'll be able to get it down?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could." I didn't have it fully memorized, so normally that's the only time I get nervous is when I'm not entirely sure that I know it by heart. But I get there, I didn't forget it, and he's like, "Oh man, people were liking it." It's like, well, shit, why don't we just do a whole project? And then that's where that came from. But the name,
there it is.
now the name, I feel like I'm pretty good with creating names, at least for other people, and I just couldn't think of anything. And then I thought, well, shit. I was like, why not retrograde? And
wow.
He was like, you can be the retro, and I'll be the grade, even though it has my name nowhere. It has my name nowhere in it. I'll be the high grade. And then I looked up what retrograde meant.
You were in at the time, yo. That's the crazy part about it.
Yeah, that was funny. People did mention like, "Oh, we are currently in Mercury retrograde." It's like, oh shit. So yeah, it kind of worked because I felt like we were spinning or moving in a direction that wasn't the same as what everybody else was doing. And so it just like, well, fuck it, it sticks. Let's work with it. I can't think of nothing else. Bam. So it was
kind of like premeditated to like, oh yeah, we're in retrograde, let's do this. No, you just like, oh, that's a good name.
I knew of the word retrograde. I didn't know the exact definition until after I said let's be retrograde, and then I looked it up.
That's hilarious. Yeah. That's a good story. That's a good.
It was a happy accident.
So tell me about your producer, Retrospect. Tell me a little bit about him.
He's from West, I want to say originally like Ohio, and then also West Texas, and he uses typically he uses the SP555
right machine. He's on Instagram. On his Instagram, I've seen it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times when he makes the beats, it'll be that, and maybe that and a mixture of FL Studio or sometimes just an FL Studio, but typically just off of that. And it just has like a kind of, his beats have just like a soul, a little blue-eyed soul to it.
Right. It reminds me a little bit of Madlib, man. He like a heavy influence. Yeah, with his jazzy beats, because he has what is that? The Black Moses track, the first record. He has this moment, which is rides out like Madlib did. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's been doing his thing for a minute, and like we just kind of happen to just like meet each other. And with the process of the album, like I would go to his crib and he would play beats, and if I get an idea going, I'd be like, all right, just let that play. And, I'd start writing. Or, there were times like he gave me a lot of beats. And so there are a lot of beats I never wrote to, which we on it. I had the beats for like several months. And then I was just like randomly like not doing anything and just started playing beats. And then like the shit just started coming to me. It was just like all at once. So the process is never always the same. Sometimes it happens in the room together. Other times, like I'll just be sitting with it, and then there are times it's just like it might just play, and then just out of nowhere I get everything, or I might break it up in pieces, might have a hook here, or at least an idea, and just kind of go from there and figure out what we do. So we definitely made enough for at least the second EP. We're already working on the second EP, and we've made some new stuff that's really dope. So I don't know if we're just gonna go with the new stuff or just kind of like make it a mixture of both. Also, he's got a production album that's going to be called Real Estate, and the reason it's called The Real Estate is there was just one day like we were just like kicking into like, hey, let's meet up and work on stuff, and we were driving. and we saw this sign that said estate sale. And it was like, hey, bro, let's go check it out. So we go to this estate sale, and there was this like one room that just had all these like records and stuff. And so we were both just going through, like, we had a bunch of 45s, a bunch of just 12 inches, and just going through all the records, just trying to find some gems. And so basically that project, or all of the beats, were made from the records that we found at that estate sale. Hence real estate.
That's actually pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Because I remember you had on your Instagram, you had this weird title of a record. It was like Salty Nuts or something like that. You were playing in the background.
It was called Salty. That was when we were on tour and we were buying.
Right.
Because man, I probably, like, when we were on tour, the majority of the money was spent on food and like record stores. Just like just wasting random amounts of money. I also spent like almost $300 and at this one store in Jackson, Mississippi, called Offbeat, which is like a comic / like record store. And so, you know, that was my first time seeing all of those Marvel variants, which use a hip-hop covers in person.
Got them all.
And yeah, I literally bought them all. And he's like, yeah, you realize those aren't all. We're getting another shipment. I'm like, God damn it. so being a comic guy and hip-hop, it was like, I have to buy these.
Exactly. That's how I felt too. Yeah. So like with the Retrograde project, what impact do you see this group, you know, affecting the hip hop culture?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I'm not exactly sure. I do hope that we're able to make some kind of, you know, stamp in the ground or footprint, so that like people know we were here. As far as like an impact, I'm not sure, but I would hope that whatever we do, that it helps other people, I guess, feel emboldened to do their own thing, and not, because it's very hard given the way most of the music is now. Everybody seems to use the same kind of cadences or same kind of beats, and, you know, rap in the same way, and, you know, it almost creeps in. But I'm able to at least say, you know what, like, just do you. If I feel like doing something that's like what everybody else is, it'll be just because that's what I felt in the moment, not because I feel that's what I need to do to be successful, or to, you know, for people to accept my music. So that's what I hope, is just we're kind of more of an inspiration to just, like, you know, do what you do and not even worry about, you know, what everybody else is. And I think that's kind of helping us to, you know, make even better music, because it's just like, all right, it's just you and me, and ain't nothing else except what this is.
Right. So on the Retrograde debut, there are two records that I personally, you know, really liked, and I wanted you to explain the process of these records. One was Excuse My French, and the other one was Kuta Kente.
Kuta Kente. Okay. So on the album, all of the features were actually picked by Tommy, or Retrospect, and they were all people that, you know, I'd known and been cool with. And so this one was Square Circle, and you know, initially had that the beat, and then our his boy Sound Founder, who's also a producer, kind of added the additional drums to it. And I hadn't even like written anything to it yet. And Square, you know, had a verse, so it was kind of like I just took kind of cues from his verse, because he was talking about, you know, life and people, but not necessarily talking about a specific subject. So then I was like, okay, well, I'll just kind of talk about it all. Supernatural, even Banshees. So I kind of talked a little bit about, you know, the black plight. Just, you know, I'd sprinkle a little bit in Supernatural, even Banshees and Siren Screaming, the devil's pendulum easily swinging. And then, I think that I'm a little bit of a mashup of just like, me, like my Black experience, pop culture.
Exactly.
So I even like through Coming to America, of course, Prince Akeem gets the keys to the kingdom. The story of my life, I sing it like James Ingram. So I mean, I just tried to kind of get in that zone and like talk about something, but not necessarily talk about a specific subjects. So I just kind of like touched on a lot of different things. And with Kuta Kinte, mind you, I I wrote the song before King Kunta ever came out. So then it was just like, oh
right.
damn.
Right.
And so my what I was talking about with Kuta Kinte is basically trying to do what's in my heart, or do what I feel I'm called to do, but then it's basically me I'm standing in the mirror and I'm looking at myself. Yeah. So I'm trying to plant roots, Kuta Kinte, on my road. So on my road, like I know this is where I need to go, but if Kuta Kinte is famous for running away, getting caught, and getting his foot chopped off. So on my road, I'm Kuta Kinte with my foot chopped off because I'm half stepping. So I'm not doing everything that I need to be doing, and that's where the disappointment is when I'm standing in the mirror, straight up grilling myself, like mad, like how come you ain't on your shit, and it's like, yeah, I know. So that was kind of where that came from, just like having to look yourself in the mirror and really analyze what you're doing, and the feeling that while looking. So yeah, that was where it goes. So I have, like, I think with my lyricism, I always try to take like the very simple things and I guess complicate it.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's just such a great record, man. Like, it's probably one of my favorite ones I go to when I listen to the whole Retrograde debut album.
I do hear that's like the best one.
Yeah,
and
it speaks to you as a person, you know what I'm saying? Like, I look at myself too.
Yeah, I mean everybody's gotta look at themselves in the mirror, and I mean, that's what it makes me think about this one poem that I found, and I don't know who wrote it, but it was called The Man in the Glass. And it's just basically like, no matter what you do, if that person in the glass, doesn't feel it or isn't pleased with it, or it really doesn't matter what anyone else says.
Exactly. That's definitely how I feel about my own journey. But moving forward you seem to have a very strong opinion about the current hip hop culture. How do you feel about that? Care to share that with us right now?
Okay. I'd say, because I understand with a lot of stuff that is out now that I might not necessarily like. I mean, of course it's going to be for a much younger generation, for young people. But then again, I'm a fan of all music, so I'm able, like, I had grown to the point, because there was a point where I used to hate on 3-6 Mafia. Oh, they don't have lyrics, and I used to be like super backpacker, and I got to the point where it's like, yo, like, you don't go to Chick-fil-A expecting a Whopper. Like, everything has its own lane and its own place. So then I was able to appreciate, because there is a talent and a skill in what 3-6 Mafia does, because they produce all their own stuff and they always have good beats, and they know how to craft a song. So you have to, like, being able to see the good in what's out there. Or, for instance, like Young Thug. I actually enjoy Young Thug. Like,
It took me a while.
His flow, like his flows are always in the pocket, and he's always doing something like slightly different for it. Like, for instance, If It Ain't About the Money, the T.I. song, he basically made that his song, and you can easily forget that it's T.I.'s song. But I think what I dislike about it, one, it's getting further and further away from the culture. because it's, like biting. Like I came from, now it's okay. Now it's okay. And in many cases, even applauded if someone is doing the exact same thing that somebody else is doing. And, where I came from, it's like, yo, you couldn't last in hip hop, at least not culturally,
Exactly.
if you were taking someone's style or doing what someone else. It was all about, trying to be unique to who you are and where you're from. But then now we're in the age of, kids who've grown up from day one, knowing what the internet is. So then it's like they live everywhere because all of the music that they listen to is from all over the place, and majority of the music that has been, popular with at least within the past, 10, 15 years, maybe even I don't know about 20, but has been, music from the South. So, naturally that's why there's so many people who, rap or make music and it's similar to that. But then, it also goes to the flip side that, I've met young cats or young producers online who like know way more about, hip hop history and pioneers than I even, thought I could know. So it's kind of like it's a double-edged sword. So I don't appreciate the homogenization of everything, and even though that's always been in the industry, or that's always been around, where you have people who basically are just trying to, get a buck and riding a wave, it's just way more prevalent now. Like it's way worse than I'd probably say worse than it's ever been. But, it's certainly not to say that there's no good hip hop or no good music, because I feel like there's definitely a renaissance coming back where people are, appreciating, good music and actually like lyrics and stuff that you listen to, instead of it just be, dialing it in. So, it's always about the culture. Like I'm always going to appreciate a DJ who knows how to scratch and can blend and mix. And I'm always going to love seeing dope ass graffiti. And so it's, that's how I feel. It's like, it's more like hip hop is my life. So even if I wasn't rapping, I would still be going to, find a good DJ and, hear dope music, or, appreciating, good street art. So it's way more than just music for me.
Oh, I feel you. Definitely feel you on that one. So moving forward to another thing you've done that people might not have heard of, you were on the Grubhub commercial.
Yes. And yes, I was.
Everybody seems to know you from this Grubhub commercial. I saw you on Facebook. It's like, yeah, aren't you on Grubhub? So, how's it feel, man? Being on the Grubhub commercial.
I mean, it's funny because now I'm like, wow, this is like the closest thing I can say I've come to like having notoriety. I mean, there are people who might like know me around town on the scene, but like, because like I've had people that like I haven't talked to since high school, or haven't talked to in years, and like, hey, RuDi, did I see you on TV? Yes,
exactly
you did.
How I felt.
Yes, you did. And it's like,
exactly
I'm tripping. Nah, it ain't RuDi. It's like, yeah, it's me. I mean, it's cool. I would like to do more of that, because well, of course for money reasons, but
right.
I feel like there's like I would basically use it kind of as an avenue to still get where I want to go in music, whether it's through the money I make or through the connection, because it's still media and entertainment. But the way it happened was just like it just like fell out of the sky. A friend I've known basically since I've moved here to Austin. Her name's Wilkins, and I would love to plug her production company, but I can't think of it right now. But yeah, she just, funny story, she just happened to be like drunk on Facebook, which in most cases is a bad recipe. Being drunk and on social media is a bad recipe for anyone. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was like 3 in the morning. she saw a friend post that she knew that was saying, "Hey, we're looking for friends or people to be in this commercial." She responded drunkenly, and then the person like hit her back, which next day, and she was shocked. And then I just get a text message like, "Hey, RuDi, what's up? Like, I've got this, possible commercial, blah blah blah. They want friends," and I go do it, and yeah, as they say, the rest is history.
It is. There it is.
I only knew her, and then like two, as far as like knowing someone, like the two other people who actually lived in the house that it was filmed in, and then gotten cool with everybody else. But yeah, it just kind of like fell in my lap. It's not necessarily about who you know, but it's who knows you.
Hey man, Mickey Factor, the McDonald's commercial. So this, you know what I mean.
Speaking of McDonald's, just a side caveat. You know that one rap? It was like a rap commercial for McDonald's, and I don't know if it was the one where Mario was rapping or it was something else. But Pusha T wrote that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Pusha T wrote like a rap for a McDonald's commercial. So you never know.
I mean, exactly. That's what's up, man. That's the crazy world of hip hop that we live in. But I know. So what's next for RuDi Devino? I know you have a big show coming up Sunday.
Ooh, yeah. Guilty opening up for Guilty Simpson. Man, there's a lot on the plate. So we got another retrograde EP. Maybe it might be an LP in the works. So there'll be Retrospect. He's got his real estate project that's going to be coming out soon, and I've got at least like 3 or 4 tracks on that. Then we've also got another retrograde EP coming, probably in between or after one of those. Can't figure out. I'm definitely going to be dropping an actual RuDi Devino, song and video, because I feel it's like long past time. I've been with all these groups and I have nothing that's just me. And aside from that, SKP, we've been working on our 3rd album, and so like that, who knows, that's in the pipeline. I performed with the group Cap Yak. Eventually, a Rap Yak album is coming, which is of course them on the beats and me on the verses and rhymes and whatnot. And then also one of my group members, HBZ, me and him, we had like started a little side project about like 3 or so years ago, and it was called 5D. And 5D stands for the Double Deuce Duo Duplicate Deluxe. 5D for short. Okay. And we did a song with a production group here in Austin called Bronze Whale. They work with electronic production, and so we've got a song called Shrubbery, which actually has a lot of plays on Spotify and on SoundCloud. I want to say on SoundCloud I want to say it's broken 200,000. Okay. Which is like more than any other, according to my SoundCloud app, on Bronze Whale's site, it's at least 257K, and then there's another 45K on another on a hip hop channel on SoundCloud. So that's more plays than I have with probably anything else I've ever done. And so we've got a project where it's just me and him on just like synthesized electronic beats, like have a lot of like swing and funk to it. And so most of that is done. So we're actually working on trying to get all the stems for our boy Kron, or Solar Shield, who made the beats. And then we'll be probably releasing that soon. And then me and him have a show. We'll be opening up for Devin's Dude in May.
7
So
days.
that's
Nice.
yeah. So it's a lot of stuff in the
I see.
pipeline. I'm also just trying to. I think I'm gonna just like because I've been fucking with a few producers here and there, and so I think I'm just gonna get to a point where I'm gonna just drop just a bunch of me projects just to get it out there, and whether or not I'm gonna make videos and whatnot for it, I don't even know, but I feel like just given as much time as I've been rapping, and it's always been with the groups I've been in, like I feel like I've got a lot of I'm making up for lost time in a sense. So now I don't want to die and then everybody's just like, oh man, RuDi was the dopest to never actually put shit out, because
Right.
that's the worst. Like nobody gives a fuck if your
Right.
shit's not out there. Like it didn't
Right.
exist. So like
Right.
that, I feel like that's what I got to do. So now I'm just trying to work right and put shit out.
Yeah, man, that's what's up, man. You seem to have a very cool eye when it comes to your visuals, so I look forward to the video. And
Oh yeah, shout out to the homie Bobby Longoria. He's the one who did the photos and also the video and the editing of Body Heat. And then our boy Tyler Russell, he did Tribal Bounce. He did the video for Tribal Bounce, Tyler Russell.
Yes, which is also premiered on my blog page for quite some time, for a little bit.
I saw that. Much love to music as a weapon. Fucking
yes,
with your
sir.
boy.
Speaking on music as a weapon, we have approached the final question of music as a weapon. So, how are you using your music as a weapon?
How am I using my music as a weapon? Well, I'm out here killing these whack MCs, and I don't know, man. I'm just trying to fight. I'm fighting for space so that a different thought processes, different points of view. So I'm using my music to make sure that it's just not one stream of consciousness out there. It's another way of thinking, another perspective. Like I'm black. I'm a nerd. I'm not poor. I'm educated. I'm a lot of different things. And then I feel like maybe there are a lot of people out there who might have the same type of life or feel the same way as I do, or live the same type of life, but don't have anybody out there that is, basically letting them know, hey, I'm just like you, or I think the way you do. So I'm just trying to, bring a little more diversity to the marketplace.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, it's always a pleasure, man, talking to you. You're doing it for the culture, man. I love that. I thank you again for the time you gave me for the interview.
Oh, I thank you for your time. Time is a limited resource. Well, what is time? Is time
what is time?
Next time on Music as a Weapon.
But all right, man. Thank you for everything, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot, man.
Oh man, anytime, bro. I appreciate it.